Hey, hello again from Let 'em Run. We're here once again on a beautiful Saturday morning in Hamilton, New Jersey, where we're at. Again, just about an hour away from where the biggest race of the day is going to be coming, Monmouth Park. The Haskell, the NYRA Bets Haskell Grade 1, $1 million race with some very nice horses. We will cover that race as well. But welcome once again, and thank you for tuning in to our podcast here. My name is Fred York with Let 'em Run. My buddy Sean Miller may be joining us a little later from down in Wildwood. Sean has been doing a lot of juggling, working on getting our name out there, getting our podcast out there, getting our information out there that we provide. And we've been providing some hot information on these races from Gulfstream Park, as well as some races that we also, in addition to our home track that we break down every week, at Gulfstream Park, we've been looking at some races that have been popping up that are good at Saratoga this week at Monmouth, and we've been very good with those picks as well. So we hope you've been following along and checking us out. Again, we are Let 'em Run. Our podcast is on Capital Sports Network, YouTube. You can check that out. You can watch it live if you're on with us right now. You can review it later, review some of our other ones and see how we did to see. Yeah, we're picking winners. There's no question we're picking winners, and there's no reason to think we're not going to be doing it again today. We broke these races down on Thursday night when we did our podcast with our one horse wonders, which included just our top pick. And we talked to you about why it was our one horse wonder. So you wouldn't have to wonder why we picked him. And we covered some good reasons why we like that top pick. We'll talk about that again a little bit, as well as our two contenders. Because when we put our articles out there on Florida Sports Talk and New York Sports Talk, if you check that out, you can look that online and read the articles that we put out there. We pick one top pick and two contenders in each race. One top pick and two contenders. And our top picks have been doing well. Last week, we introduced a really cool new addition to our podcast, which we call that our speed play of the day. And let me tell you, folks, I hope you've been paying attention to that, because our speed plays of the day have also been coming through tremendously. And we're going to continue that streak again today. Usually we find the speed play of the day at each track we analyze, Gulfstream Park. And today, of course, we're going to do a little bit of work on Monmouth, 3 races at Monmouth. Race 7, which is a nice optional claiming 1 mile turf race, $50,000. Got some good runners in there, and a big field of 12 to bet on. We're going to talk about that race. Then race 11, which is the United Nations Marathon, 1 3/8 on turf. Tremendous race there. I love those marathon turf races. They're a lot of fun to watch. Never know how they're going to play out. Got a big play in that race for you to look at. And then, of course, the big daddy of them all, race number 12 at Monmouth Park, the Haskell, the NYRA Bets Haskell, 1 1/8 on dirt. What's really big about this race, in addition to being a $1 million race, a grade 1 race, it is the win and you're in to the Breeders' Cup Classic. And all the folks I've been talking to and listening to and getting information from are saying this year's Breeders' Cup Classic at Del Mar is probably going to be the best classic they've seen in a while. And that certainly is something to keep our eye on and look forward to. So once again, Thursday nights at 8 o'clock, we do our one horse wonders top pick. Today, we're going to do our top pick along with two contenders in each race at Gulfstream Park, races 7 through 11. And we do have a speed play of the day in that mix, races 7 through 11, which we're going to cover that as well for you. And we're going to play our new sound effect. I've been working on this all week to get a good sound effect. We'll see how it works out when it comes up. But we're also going to cover, like I said, at Monmouth Park, which is dry and fast and firm there. No problems with the issue there. A little drizzle earlier, no big deal. So I don't think there's going to be any condition changes there. But we're going to cover races, as I mentioned, races 7, races 11, and then the big daddy races, race 12, the Haskell. So check it out. Listen in. Let's get some winners home. And make sure to subscribe and like us and continue to join in with us when we do these podcasts, because there's good information coming your way. And without further ado, let's get started. Okay, cheaters on. Here we go. So let's talk about the 7th race at Gulfstream Park. Post time for 10 Eastern Standard Time It is a mile and 70 yards on synthetic. It is a claiming $10,000 race. What's interesting about this sequence currently at Gulfstream Park in races 7 through 11, 4 of the 5 races are a mile 70 on synthetic. Pretty straightforward. 4 route races, mile and 70 on synthetic. One of the races is a dirt race, a mile on dirt, 1 turn mile on dirt. A good race to look at, which we will obviously cover that one as well, but no turf. Like I said, my understanding from what I've been reading and trying to get information on is at Gulfstream Park, they're giving that turf a chance to refresh, recover, regrow, reuse, reinvent, whatever you want to say, to get it ready so that when they get when they finish up with their Royal Palm meet here and then they move into their Sunshine meet, which starts in September, we would like to think they'll have some turf racing going again. But at any rate, things are looking good down there at Gulfstream Park. It's going to be fast on the dirt race, the one dirt race that they have in our sequence. And of course, rain doesn't really affect the synthetic, the tapeta, as Larry Comas calls it, the tapeta. They say when it does rain and drizzle there, the tapeta gets kind of firm and helps with speed. So I wouldn't mind if there's a little drizzle down there because we do have our speed play of the day, which we'll get to. But okay, let's get back to the picks. Race 7. It's a nice was a field of 12. There were a couple scratches. None of the scratches really affected our impact. They scratched the 1, the 11, and the 13, which left us with the field of 10. But one of the scratches wasn't also eligible. So you got a nice field of 10, good value, good betting race, lots of options to choose from. We picked our top pick, number 3, Musical Journey. Morning line 9-2 has one of my favorite looks, information that I get from Brisnet regarding speed and in terms of the type of race that this race is and what kind of speed would win, what kind of style of running would win. And it looks like in this race, I think the 3, Musical Journey, being ridden by Apprentice Greenridge, getting again in light, is going to give him a little chance to get to the front and stay to the front. Last 3 races, the horse was right there in front, looked good coming out of the gate, looked good coming around the far turn, won 2 of the 3 races that he was in the last 3, all 3 of them a mile and 70. 3 back, he won by 10 lengths with Greenridge on him. A little slightly lower level than this, claiming 8,000. This is a claiming 10,000. The last race he was in was a claiming 12.5. So he's coming back down maybe to a level where he belongs. And I think this horse is certainly going to be the speed of the speed. Our 2 contenders are some horses that have a little price. The number 4, Sunroof, loves Gulfstream Park. He's 4 for 4, or she, excuse me, is 4 for 4 on synthetic. And the lone closer in the field, I don't know there's a whole lot of speed other than the 3 in this race. There's a couple horses that may get out. And the speed, if there is a little bit of a speed play out there, the number 4 horse, Sunroof, at 10-1 could get a shot to close into this field. So keep that horse in mind. And the number 6, Lady Emily Catherine, at 4-1 is our other pick. We've had this horse before in our picks with contenders. She has done very well. This horse is the number 1, Prime Power, which is another source of information that is given from Brisnet. Number 1, Prime Power means a lot, and I don't mind this horse being 4-1. So this is another horse who probably should be picking up the pieces late. My contention is I'd like to see it 9-2, morning line anyway, the number 3, Musical Journey, get to the lead and stay in the lead. So those are our picks. Hey, Mike. Okay, well, hopefully you can go to an all-you-can-eat buffet next time, brother. So those are our picks there in race 7. And we like our best pick, the number 3, Musical Journey, to possibly get in front and stay in front. Okay, let's move on to race number 8, mile and 70 on to synthetic once again, 4:43 Eastern time, and maiden claiming 35,000. So many horses in this race are dropping down from maiden special weight into maiden claiming. Maiden special weight, the only way you get any cabbage after the race is if you win or come in second or third. You can't get claimed out of the race. And most of those horses that are maiden special weight races are pretty much high-level horses, very high quality. Not that these horses are not, but when they drop from maiden special weight into maiden claiming, they call that the biggest drop in horse racing, the biggest class drop in horse racing. And certainly that means a lot And some of these horses, or many of these horses, are making that drop. In fact, it's one of the few races that I've seen where almost every horse has been taking a drop from their last race was a maiden special weight race into this race, maiden claiming 35K. So it's a field of 8. There was a scratch of the 6. I am so disappointed that the 6 scratched. That was one of our picks that we were looking at as a speed play. Boombox Betty, 30-1. Showed a lot of speed, working out on synthetic, stretching out. Certainly the first time at this distance would have been interesting, but I certainly would have liked to taken a chance at 30-1 with this horse. But anyway, number 6, Boombox Betty, scratched out. But I have put this horse in my virtual stable because we will keep an eye on when this horse runs again, because I'm looking forward to seeing that horse run again and stretching out on synthetic. The workout that the horse had last time out showed still has the speed. It just would have been a matter if they kept up. So anyway, so we're going to go with our top pick, the number 7, Scream. This horse is another interesting horse. There's a lot of interesting horses in this race. This horse has not raced on synthetic before. He was our top pick, and we talked about him on our One Horse Wonder. This horse previously was trained by Todd Pletcher, was purchased for $310,000. And now currently is claiming $35,000. Some people would say that's a red flag. I'm not so sure. What's most interesting and what made me fall on this horse, particularly since even more so, I mean, I had this horse before Boombox Betty scratched out, but Boombox Betty had some speed on synthetic, clearly, when you look at his past performances. But this horse, number 7, Screen, being ridden by Eddie Gonzalez, trained by David Fawkes, has not raced on synthetic before. Okay, his first race was a 5-furlong sprint. His second race was a mile turf, and now he's on synthetic. So what's the big deal? Well, if you look at the workouts this horse is having, this horse is meant for synthetic. I mean, 4 workouts in a row, 47 seconds or better at 4 furlongs, back to back to back to back, ready to go, ready to run. The trainer is 3 for 3 when they take a horse from maiden special weight to maiden claiming. The trainer is also 33% overall in maiden claiming races. So again, coming out of the barn at Todd Pletcher, sometimes people look at that and saying, okay, that might be a negative, but I am not quite certain that that is a negative in this situation. So again, our top pick is the number 7, Scream. That horse is going to be very interesting to watch, and I think it's going to show a lot of speed at 1.7 miles, and that speed I would think is going to hold up. So our other contender is the number 3, Latte Lizzie. This horse is likely to be the post-time favorite, morning line of 2-1. Safi Joseph Jr. is putting Relu Gutierrez on this horse. Buyer speed figures fit very well here in this race. Another horse dropping from maiden special weight to maiden claiming. The race back on March 8th looks very nice here in this condition. That race was a maiden special weight race at Gulfstream Park. The horse ran second, but boy, had a nice run in that race against some high quality horses. So certainly Latte Lizzie is going to have a big chance to get to the wire as well. But I'm really looking forward to seeing that number 7, Screen, take to the synthetic and see what kind of racehorse this could be for synthetic. So there you go. Race 8, our top pick is the number 7, Screen, morning line 3-1. Our contender, number 3, Latte Lizzie, 2-1. Boombox Betty, scratched out. We're going to keep an eye on that horse because I am looking forward to when that horse runs, and I hope it's at 30-1 again. Okay, let's move on to race 9. This is our only non-mile 70 synthetic race. It is a 1-turn mile on dirt. It's an optional claiming, $20,000 down to $12,000 claiming. Has to do with conditions. If you read the conditions of the race, there's a condition that will allow you to be claimed for $20,000, a condition that will be allowed you to claim for $12,000. So some of the horses are being claimed, some of the horses are not. So we got a nice field of 7 now. There was a scratch of the 2, and I think the scratch of the 2 is big for us because that horse that scratched, Buchero's Dude, was an E8, had speed, likes to get out, likes to be up front. Well, guess what? That gives our number 8 horse a big opportunity to go to the lead and stay at the lead. That's High Strike. This horse very likely going to be the speed of the speed. Last 2 times out last time out was on synthetic. Last 2 times prior to that ran on 6 furlongs and showed a lot of speed. And I think this horse will continue to show speed at a little bit longer, going a mile. But it, again, is a one-turn mile. It's similar to the 6 furlong race being a one-turn race as well. Another factor that checks off a lot of check boxes is that Jose Morales stays on this horse and knows this horse well for trainer Frederick LeBeau. So looking forward to see this number 8 horse, High Strike, get out in front and get the lead. Not our speed play of the day. We're going to get to that soon, but very likely to be a front runner. There's a couple other nice horses in this field that we're going to take a look at too as our contenders. And number 6, Dune Road, is one of the other contenders, being trained by a solid trainer, Gary Jackson, not a household name like Saffie Joseph Jr. Nevertheless, first time claiming 60% out of 5. Okay, that's a small field, a small pool, I should say, of 5. I'll take 60%. 3 out of 5 first time when he puts the horse in, first time claiming. I don't think that's a bad deal. And if you look at the past performances on this horse is a really tough horse. Always puts his head down, always tries, always going to give you his best effort. So at 5-2, I think this horse has a really good chance. If we're looking for a little bit of a price play, and we always are, and we always will be doing that, a price play that makes sense, well, I'm looking at the number 4, Swashbuckle. Got our guy Luis Fuenmayor, up-and-coming apprentice jockey, still getting some weight allowance. He stays on this horse. He rode this horse last time out at 7 furlongs at Gulfstream Park on the dirt. Got out front, ran very well, looked good. It was only his first time on dirt, and looked like he took to the dirt very well. And I could see that happening again with Fuenmayor staying aboard, looking like he's going to have another chance to get out in front. So it's going to be a battle to see who's going to win this race. I think there's some good horses in this race. I don't mind taking a shot with that horse who's 15-1. Again, with the apprentice jockey, Luis Fuenmayor on that horse, really gives us a good chance to like that horse as well. So that covers race 9. Now we're going to get to race 10. And when we get to race 10, we've talked about it. We're going to get a little bit of dark here, a little bit of darkness here, just because I want to get this up and I want to get this sound in here so we know exactly what we're dealing with. Okay. Yep. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Got it. Okay, folks, that is our speed play of the day. Been hitting very well. If you followed some of our podcasts in the past when we talked about our speed play of the day, which we put in place a couple of weeks ago, they've been hitting big. So let's talk about our speed play today. It is the number 7, Creme Pas, 10-1 morning line, Argentinian bred horse. Looks to be the lone speed with the E8 rating. And certainly it's a smaller field now, field of 6. It was a field of 8. There's the scratch of the 4 and the 5. The 5 was one of our contenders. We'll get to that horse in a minute. But this horse is the lone speed in the field at 10-1. The time form, U.S. pace early figure is clearly by far the best in the race at 125. And generally speaking, that's a high early pace figure, 125. And I think this horse has shown it has speed. You're putting the best jockey currently down there in Gulfstream Park, Miguel Vasquez, on this horse, who is getting on this horse for the first time for trainer Jose D'Angelo. That's a good combination. On a side note, Grisais is up at Monmouth riding in some of those big races at Monmouth. They have, I think, a 12-race card up there with 5 stakes races. So Grisais took his tack, went up north to Monmouth, and good luck to Edgar up there. Hope he does well. But in this particular horse, Creme Pas, Vasquez is getting on this horse, and I think that's a real positive. Last couple of races, Jaramillo's been on him. Not a bad thing either. But we're getting the best jockey currently down there at Gulfstream Park with Vasquez on this horse. So I love the fact that this horse is 10-1. I was shocked when I saw that price, that morning line come out at 10-1, because again, I do these picks. I print these past performances out on Monday, and I go through them and I pick, which horses I like, why I like him. Again, we talk about that. And when I saw this morning line coming out after I made my notes, 10-1, I was like, okay, speed play of the day, 10-1, big chance to wire the field in this 1.70 yards synthetic. So let's see what happens. If we're going to look at some other horses to go with them, we said a number 5, Samburo, scratched out, and that left us with the number 8, King Dioro, morning line 5-2. Probably has a good chance to get up there. Loves Gulfstream Park, loves a synthetic. Being ridden again by a nice apprentice jockey, Javier Torres. Also, number 1 prime power. So Jose D'Angelo has 2 horses in this race. Kind of interesting. This horse last time out was in a key race where several of the horses came back to win next out. Is back on his preferred surface. Last time out was on turf. So he's going from turf to synthetic, from turf to synthetic. And his 3 back race put up a 90 Beyer speed figure at this distance at Gulfstream Park. So going to be interesting. I'm not saying that our speed play of the day, the number 7 Coreme Pass, is not going to have his work cut out for him. But I still think that horse has got a big chance to wire the field. Very excited to see that race go off. And we're going to look at that. The other horse in this race that's kind of interesting, and since we lost one of our contenders, I would consider using this horse if you're thinking about making an exacta trifecta bets, or you want to use it in your pick 5 sequence. The number 1 Navy Cross. I know it's going to get a lot of action out there for, God bless our veterans out there who have served us and who keep this country safe. God bless America. God bless our veterans. The number 1 Navy Cross. 3-1 morning line, being ridden by Eddie Perez. This horse is a quality horse, got a good lifetime record. Last few times out has been consistent at 1.70 at this level. First, second, first. Definitely going to be there. I just like to see our horse get out and has a little better speed, I think, than this horse, the Navy Cross. A little faster, a little quicker. And I think with the 1 scratch that we had, the 2 scratches, that puts our horse even a little bit closer to the rail, which gives him a little chance to run past any front runners to his inside, one of them being the number 1 Navy Cross. So let's keep an eye on that race, folks. Don't forget our speed play of the day. The number 7 Coreme Pass, 10-1. I see this horse wiring the field. Okay, let's close it out, folks, with the last race at Gulfstream Park in the pick 5 sequence. That would be race 11, 1.70 miles. On synthetic, a claiming $8,000 race, non-winners of 2 lifetime. This horse, there's some interesting horses. You can make a case for many of the horses in this race, I believe. But I fell on the number 4 Dialythic, being ridden by Pimentel, a jockey who doesn't get a lot of play down there, actually looking for his first win down there, and I'm okay with that. Victor Barboza is a good trainer. He has this horse ready to go. The last time out when Pimentel rode this horse, he was way out, or not way out, but it was has a little bit better post now than he had the last time out. He's 5-2 morning line. I certainly think with Pimentel back on this horse, he closed very strongly last out at 1.16 on synthetic at Gulfstream Park. He's going to get a chance again to close into some speed in this race, and I think that's going to be the real opportunity for this horse to get the W. So again, race 11, our top pick is the number 4 Dialythic, and I think she fits into this level of racing very well at this claiming $8,000 race. Got a couple contenders, which are also pretty much going to be favorites as well. That's why I think this horse, this race, like I said, you could make a case for almost any of the horses in this race. There was only 1 scratch, the scratch of the number 1. Had the best jockey on the horse, so there was some impact from that in terms of the type of horse, the type of jockey riding the horse. Vasquez, again, being the best jockey down there now with Zayas up at Monmouth. So again, our top pick is the number 4 Dialythic. Couple contenders, the number 3 Rena Mar, 3-1. Again, getting the apprentice Luis Fuenmayor on this horse. Looks like that horse can have some speed, and getting in light may help that speed get carried a little bit further. And we also had the number 8 Attending, a 7-2 morning line. First time on synthetic, but last time out on turf. Broke the maiden impressively, passing horses very impressively if you watch the replay of that race, which I often do. Not all the time, but I did watch that one. And the trainer, Jose D'Angelo, can get them running when he puts them on synthetic, has a nice percentage on horses running on synthetic. Okay, let's put our hats on, and I'm wearing this hat because I will be going to Saratoga. Figure a little tip of the hat to Saratoga, changing up from the baseball cap. I've got a couple hats ready to break them out when we go to Saratoga. Going to go up there on a Thursday, Be there for Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. So we'll be doing a little couple reels, couple little shout outs, a little podcasts, a little quick ones from Saratoga with some information strictly on the Saratoga races next week. So you can look for us on Thursday, you can look for us on Friday, and you can look for us on Saturday during the day when the races are being run. We'll be putting up some information, particularly when we find, if we find, and I know we will find, any speed plays of the day. So be sure to check that out, as they have been going very well for us. Okay, let's talk a little bit now about Monmouth Park, where everything there from the last time I checked just a few minutes ago is still fast and firm. We've got a very nice first, the seventh race, a mile on turf, allowance $50,000. Good race, field of 13. That's a big field. When you get a field of 13, folks, you can find some value in there. There's certainly, the morning lines are all over the place. There's definitely value in this race. Now, when we talked about this race on Thursday night during our One Horse Wonders, we talked about the number 2, John the Beer Man. I've been off a while, getting good Monmouth jockey Sammy Camacho on this horse. Scratch. So that's why we talk about doing this on Saturdays at 12:30. Okay, that horse scratch. Who are we going to go to next? What's going to be our next pick? Who are we going to look at? Well, I'm going to answer that question for you right now, because there was another horse in here that we liked. That was our number 1 horse. He scratched. So we're going to pick the next horse that we like in this race, being ridden by Johnny Velasquez, who's ridden this horse a few times. That's the number 9, Assertiveness. This horse has taken a pretty big drop in class, too, to drop into this level of racing, an allowance $50,000 race, dropping out of a stakes race the last time out, the time before 113,000 allowance race at Keeneland, been racing at Aqueduct, been racing at Saratoga. So it's his first time here at Monmouth Park, and I think that's a big tell too. So that horse morning line is 10-1. Last time out was a little too short, 6 furlongs, not this horse's style. 3 times back, he raced at Gulfstream Park at a mile, broke his maiden impressively in a field of 12, put up a nice 78 by our speed figure, which would fit well for him for this race. For that horse, Johnny Velasquez stays on the horse, riding this horse for the first time for trainer Todd Pletcher. So put all that together, and I think you're going to really like the number 9, Assertiveness, as our top pick of the race in this race 7. A mile on turf, an allowance $50,000 race. So take a look at that horse, number 9. Again, you can look through this race and find lots of horses that you can like, reasons that you like him. I know there's a few other horses in here that are looking good. Obviously, the number 1, Maine Beats, Flavian Pratt, riding for Chad Brown. That was Chad Brown's other horse that got scratched out, John the Beer Man, but he still has the number 1. Been off a little while since November, working out for the return. Has this horse probably ready to go. Ran in a grade 3 race last out. Talk about dropping class. That horse certainly was way over his head at Aqueduct in that last race. But that's a horse you can look at. There's another horse that I think is kind of interesting as a possible opportunity to get some value. Shy the Runner, the number 4, being ridden by jockey Madeline Oliver at Monmouth Park. She's a regular rider down there at Monmouth Park. Great person. We met her once when the Ancient of Hibernians had we sponsored a race there. We went in the winner's circle. She won that race, and so we got to take a picture with her. Great gal. Wish her the best of luck on a horse that can show some speed. And this race is shortening up to a mile. The last race that this horse was in was a higher level allowance, 64,000. Now we're talking about allowance 50,000. It was a mile and 16th at Monmouth. Got out to the lead, just ran out of gas at a mile and 16th, but that was the first time this horse was on turf, which is really interesting. Showed some good speed. I think is going to show speed again. So if you're looking for a little value, I would not leave the number 4, Shy the Runner, with Madeline Oliver on this horse at 20-1, stretching out. Going to show some speed and might be able to hold on for a mile, and that'd be interesting for a price. So keep an eye on that horse as well. But again, our top pick still remains the number 9, Assertiveness. Okay, let's move on to a really cool race. We talked about this last week at the Belmont, but the rain, they took a lot of the races off the turf. They kept last week's Bowling Green stakes race on turf, but the field scratched down from a field of 8 to a field of 4 Farbridge won that race easily. Our top pick, Corruption, scratched out of that race. We looked at the Farbridge and felt with only 4 horses in there. There was one speed horse, but not going to last with just 4 horses in the race. So in this race, there's a field of 9 now. The number 1 horse, Corruption, who we just talked about, who scratched out of the Bowling Green Stakes race at Saratoga last week, came to Monmouth, was going to run, scratched out. So that leaves a nice field of 10 in this race. And we fell on a nice horse that we like, and that horse is the number 7, Rebel Red, being ridden by Louis Size. Actually, Louis Size getting on this horse for the first time. This horse is in great form for a marathon race, a 1 3/8 on turf, has by far the highest closing U.S. time form pace figure for closing at 1:20. Really good. And if you look at the last race, again, I did watch the replay of this race. Boy, what a turn of foot this horse made at Churchill Downs in a good race, a stakes race at 170,000. This is obviously a little bit higher level, grade 2, the United Nations, grade 2 race worth 600,000. So it's quite a step up in class, but I still don't think that's going to bother this horse, Rebel Red. And I like that Sherry DeVoe has turned to Louis Saez to ride this horse. On July 12th, about a week ago, had a tremendous workout, show that this horse is ready, put in a 4 furlong of 47 and 4 seconds, breezing, looked very impressive. So this horse is definitely ready to run. And I think there still is enough speed in this race with the horse that did scratch. The number 1, Corruption, did have some speed, but there's enough speed in this race, I think, to set up the closing kick of the number 7, Rebel Red. Love the morning line of 9-2. We'll see how it holds up at post time, but that is our number 1 choice in this race, the number 7, Rebel Red. Again, big field, lots of options, lots of stuff can happen in a 1 3/8 race. They're fun to watch. I love the marathon races. I can't wait when I go to Saratoga and watch the marathon races. You'll go by one time. You can go get a beer, come back, and the race won't be over yet. But they're a lot of fun to watch. So let's see what happens in that race, and we'll go from there. Okay, let's wrap it up right now with the big daddy that we've been talking about. Everybody's talking about. We're all looking forward to seeing this race at Monmouth Park. Great venue for the NYRA Bets Haskell. Grade 1 race, $1 million race, and even more importantly, a win and you're into the Breeders' Cup Classic race at Del Mar in November. So besides the $1 million purse, besides the value of winning the Haskell race at Monmouth, there's a big carrot at the end being dangled in front of you as a win and you're in. Now, it's a field of 8. There were no scratches. The obvious choice in this race, clearly, and there'll be no argument from me or anybody else to why this horse is the favorite, journalism. Obviously, there is no sovereignty in this race, so journalism should have an easy day of it. That's what people are thinking. That's what people are saying. I'm not saying they're wrong. Obviously, this horse is a classy horse. He's running 4 grade 1 races in the past. The Belmont Preakness Derby, ran in all the Triple Crown races, ran in San Felipe Stakes out there in Santa Anita. Very classy horse, very good horse, being ridden by Umberto Rispoli, number 1 prime power, trained by Michael McCarthy, has won at this distance before. Only one of 2 horses who have won at this distance before. The other horse that has won at this distance is the horse that we are falling on here at Let Him Run, and that is the number 4, Burnham Square. I loved this horse from the beginning when his horse started running, when this horse ran in the Holy Bull and won impressively. The Fountain of Youth had a little trouble there, won the Bluegrass grade 1, and of course in the Kentucky Derby in the slop with the big field that was in there, got bumped around, fell back, made a big run, got bumped again, but never quit, put his head down and kept going, came in 6th. Okay, finished by 10 lengths out of it, but you just had to watch this horse run and see the heart this horse has. And everybody's been waiting for this horse to finally show when this horse is going to show the kind of horse it should be. And I think this is going to be it. I mean, Brian J. Hernandez is a great jockey. Ian Wilkes is a great trainer, a little underrated in terms of name recognition. I know his name. And with Brian Hernandez, if this horse gets a better trip out of the gate and doesn't get bumped around, I think he's going to be, right up there with the top runners, not in front, but I'm talking about stalking. And I hope he gets first run before journalism gets his wheels turning, and we'll see what happens. And I like the morning line of 5-1. There's plenty of good horses in this race, plenty of good options for you to pick. I mean, a lot of people like the number 6 Gosker, being ridden by previously mentioned Luis Saez, trained by Brandon Walsh, put up a nice 97 buyer speed figure last out, even though it came in second in the Preakness. So that horse is going to get a lot of play. I'm sure that morning line will come down from 9-2 quite a bit by the time post time comes around. So take a pick, make a choice. I would really like to see Burnham Square win this race because I think this horse has a lot of talent. I think this horse has just been barely missing its opportunity to hit the big time. It's a dry, fast track. I think that's an advantage for this horse. I think this horse is ready to sit on a big race, been working out well for the return. So let's root, or at least I'm going to be rooting for the number 4, Burnham Square. It's going to be a great race to watch. Good luck to all the runners in that race because, again, the winner of that race is going to be going to the Breeders' Cup in Del Mar, and that's a big opportunity for a horse to run in the Classic at the Breeders' Cup at Del Mar, the greatest race there is at the end of the year. Certainly, I consider, many people do, the Breeders' Cup as the Super Bowl of horse racing. Unbelievable. Back in 2007, they had the Breeders' Cup at Monmouth Park. Unfortunately, man, it rained so much, it was terrible. Unfortunate for Monmouth Park. They put so much time and effort into making that track look beautiful. It still was a great day. There still were great horses. They ran all the big races. But 2007, they did run the Breeders' Cup at Monmouth Park, which was cool. I was there. It was fun. It was great to see the big-time jockeys, the big-time analysts, the big-time trainers, big-time celebrities. Again, if it was nice and sunny, would have been great. Didn't work out weather-wise. Still worked out great for Monmouth Park. But today, Monmouth Park is back to glory again with the Grade 1 NYRA Bets Haskell Stakes. So good luck to all the horses in that race. Let's go, Burnham Square. Looking forward to you putting a little star on next to your name to say you have finally done what you needed to do. So let's do it. And we'll continue to look at all the other races. So once again, I want to thank you all for joining in. Make sure you like and subscribe. Check out our articles on Florida Sports Talk. You can check that out and look at previous articles we had and more detailed articles about what we just talked about in our podcast today. You can also look at New York Sports Talk where there's information there. And don't forget, next week we'll be talking about some races. We'll be spot playing the races at Saratoga on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday with my man, Jimmy Mayer, and our significant others as well. Looking forward to having a great time up there at Saratoga. Can't wait. Hope everything goes well there. So good luck to everybody. Let him run and pick some winners, and make sure you check out what we picked too, because we've been pretty hot.